So I spoke with my compound provider about the recent decision deemed by the FDA as of December 19, 2025, declaring Tirzepatide, Zepbound slash Manjaro is officially off the shortage list. It's Jasmine Nicole. Welcome and welcome back to Wait with Jazz. Real quick, I used to be 284 pounds. 12 years ago, I lost 115 pounds through intermittent fasting and running. But I decided to lose the 40 plus pounds to get to my ultimate goal weight with GLP-1 brand medication Zepbound, and then I transitioned to Tirzepatide Compound, which I'm currently on now, which puts me at my maintenance weight range. My maintenance weight range is between 120 to 125 pounds, maybe 125 pounds to 130 pounds, maybe 135 pounds, depending on what happens with the fluctuation of weight weekly. A 10-pound allowance, especially with me because my comorbidities are lipedema and or lipedema and high blood pressure, as well as perimenopause, almost in menopause. I'm almost in menopause, okay? Once I reach a year of no menstrual cycle, I will be in menopause. So I am almost there. So I have a lane of weight-related comorbidities, inflammation comorbidities, okay? So I have to, keep my weight down within that rate range in general through supplements, through my medications, through my GLP-1 medication, my metabolism support through lipo-B, my water pills that are prescribed to keep the inflammation down, water retention down. So as long as I am steadfast on my routine, I'm pretty much solid managing my weight range of 125 to 135. So that's where I'm at this time. So I spoke with my compound provider about the recent decision deemed by the FDA as of December 19, 2025, declaring Tirzepatide, Zepbound slash Manjaro is officially off the shortage list, and the following implications of discontinuing the compound as a result. So I wanted to find out a little more information from my provider so that I can plan accordingly if exit strategy is needed, if needed, you know. So I pretty much got the response from Amble that they are continuing to provide Tirzepatide. That's pretty much the response that I got after I inquired specifically in detail about the continuation of Tirzepatide compound. So Amble may still be providing this compound. We're going to see beyond March. Just as you watching Mochi, which is a compound provider who has modified its doses beyond Lilly's GLP-1 brand name doses, with the highest doses actually exceeding 15 milligram. They're going to 16.6 milligram. And I believe that is the first time done by a compound provider. That's the only provider we have seen to actually make that move. And that's advantageous for compound users, as well as a kind of attention grabber for brand name users who may be able to afford a compound if they need a dose higher than 15 milligram. Because we know that the Lilly doses cap at 15, and there are a number of patients on brand name GLP-1 who are on 15 milligram and are in a weight stall who need a higher dose, which is why there are more GLP-1s that are coming up in the market, and I will have an upcoming video about that information soon. Battling for less doses, less injection doses for longer effective times of medication, as well as doses beyond 15 milligram. So by Mochi Health going to 16.6 milligram, I'm sure, or in the 16 milligram range, still beyond that 15, giving patients an extra dose of help, which could make a difference or maybe not. But at the end of the day, the doses are not replica. They're not replicating to the exact T of Lily's dose. So that may be an advantage for compound provider to still continue providing the medication. We'll see. And I'm apply that information in hindsight to a possibility for Amble Health. So I'm going to stand by and see what they are doing. But as far as I know, they are continuing to provide it, as well as they're going to provide the full price of Zepbound and Manjaro. So in some way, they have something connected, and they're still going to provide that at full price. Um, so I'm just going to accept that at ease, continue to put my orders in. And if there is a halt, I'll be aware. And if the halt does occur, and if my provider no longer offers, my provider no longer offers Tirzepatide, then I'm going to go to other options. I'm going to go to Zepbound. So, I'm already a formal Zepbound user, so I would just reinstate my refill with my primary physician. And then I would apply the Elisa Lilly savings card, um, which is renewed, and I will just pay that. I pay out of pocket, and that's what it will be. But until then, it's going to be Tirzepatide with Amble, as long as Amble's carrying it. Now, Amble may be on the verge of what Mochi is doing, modifying the doses, adding L-carnitine, which is an amino acid protein, or added another amino acid protein to the mix, or maybe possibly something peptide related. There are modifications that can be done. So I'm really interested to see what those modifications are. Because as long as it's an approvable amino acid, I'm okay with it because I take amino acid proteins. My body needs it. It's just overall for muscle development, muscle preservation, everything like so. That's fine for me. That's fine for me as I am in body recomp and I'm trying to maintain and build muscle tone to an extent. So I'm fine with it. I'm going to continue my metabolic support aid from them because that strengthens my metabolism. I'm always going to have a metabolism support aid. I think that is just important long term. So that's GLP-1 is long term for me, but so is lipo B, which is a combination of amino acid proteins and B vitamins. Okay, so that's essential for me for skin health. It's essential for me for metabolizing, boosting help, so metabolic help. Keep that metabolism going. It may not add no appetite suppression, but a high metabolism turns your body into a metabolic powerhouse, which is what I'm trying to turn my body into, so that it could burn calories at rest. I don't have to work as hard. It's going to burn calories. So even when you slip up in areas, your metabolism is already up and going and it's not going to hit that hard. So, that's like the ultimate goal. These are like hacks, these are fitness hacks, um, fitness and wellness hacks that could be beneficial to some, but it's definitely beneficial to me. So I'm okay with the compound provider modifying doses and adding additional ingredients that are approved to the medication so that it is not considered a compound, which would conflict with Lily's conditions for his medication. So that's the update so far for um, my compound provider's response to the recent declaration of Tirzepatide no longer being in shortage officially. I know we're all still taken back a little bit from that information. We're a little bit surprised. because people thought that it was just going to be a continuance, that it was going to be more time. I'm thinking that this probably was going to progress up into April, so forth, but that's not the case. However, we still can't stand by for a possible appeal. OFA may be appealing the decision. So, I mean, any decision made can be subject to an appeal within 30 days for the most part, from my legal understanding of the legal process. So, there's always an option for an appeal. We don't know if that has been submitted yet. So, and if it's not submitted, I mean, then it is what it is. Go forward with the finding. Now, just to make clarification, this doesn't mean that even beyond the date of March of 2025, where they're saying 503A, excuse me, 503B pharmacies are no longer servicing the GLP-1 compound, tirzepatide. And then February is the date for the 503A pharmacies. My provider is a dual 503A and a 503B pharmacy. So they still have that extra date till March, but it may go behind March. I'm going to stand by given their response and what they may have up their sleeve, just as Mochi. So we going to see what happens. But what was I actually saying? Excuse me. Um, oh, I was making the point that although this determination has declared that tirzepatide is no longer in shortage, and that the process of discontinuing the production of the compound for compound users is taking an effect by dates. I think there is some stipulation to that a little, because upon medical certainty, compounds will still be provided, but it's going to be provided based upon medical certainty, medical necessity rather, and which usually involves a need because of an allergic reaction or some type of conflict, medical conflict with the patient that could prevent them from taking the brand name medication. So they will have to revert to a compound. That always will still be in place. So they're not Xing out compound GLP compound production altogether, but they're Xing out the mass production of it in general, to fulfill this compound market that has pretty much been created, because the compounds were always available by medical need, but it has evolved into such a large market now of purchase beyond what initially was used for, that Eli Lilly had to step in, Novo Nordisk is stepping in, people were stepping in to try to get the stuff off a shortage, and Lilly was successful, so that they can kind of scale this market down. But they're not going to completely eliminate it, because by medical necessity, the compounds still have to be produced for people who need it. So compound providers, with caution, I believe, are still going to provide it, but it's not going to be in mass like it was. Okay, but there you go. That's my take from it, based off the information I've received. I'll see you in the next video. Be real.